In this video, I'm going to be showing you some few things that can actually, make or mar your PC flipping game. And by make, I'm talking about a situation where, a buyer receives the PC that you have sent out and says, wow, what a package. This is actually what I was expecting. The buyer is satisfied. He or she feels that he or she has paid and has gotten value for the money that was spent. If somebody goes onto eBay and spend as much as 400 euros, even 200 euros, or even 50 euros, the person expects to get, a PC that will make him or her very happy. And if your package makes, a customer happy, then you have actually achieved your goal. I'm so sorry. My voice a little bit, broken right now. The weather has been like this, pretty much like cold, hot, cold, hot. And for 3 days now, I've been under the weather and I just couldn't stop making videos because I feel like there's a lot of things to actually cover. And the longer I stay not using my voice, it's not just going to tell well for the channel, my motivation and all that. So I felt like today, even though it's a little bit husky, I'm just going to try to, go through this and try to take it cool. So don't, be surprised what's happening. Hardwareflipper, where's his energy? Look, I'm under the weather and I'm going to be fine in a matter of days. All right. By breaking your transaction, I mean a situation where a buyer receives the PC and says, well, this is not what I expected. On the offer on eBay, the PC looks so beautiful. Everything looks so great. But right now that I'm seeing the PC, I don't think I want it. I want to send it back. And this is a situation where you see that a buyer that received your PC in less than 2 hours, the buyer is already on the, send item back tab on eBay. They want to send the item back and they want a full refund of their money. I said that is not enough. They might even want to punish you for that by going, to even place a negative review on your account because you have not delivered on your promise. All right. This PC right here has been sold. I'm just going to try to take a look at how much it sold. It's sold for 299 euros and 49 cents. It's a complete PC, and when I talk about complete PC, I'm talking about a PC just like this, a 24-inch monitor, a wireless keyboard and mouse. I think a wireless LAN adapter also. Yes, a dual band wireless LAN adapter. You see, this is a complete package, and if whoever receives this PC, wants something that will make him or her happy, anything short of that is going to make the customer firstly very sad, and secondly, angry. And there's just no way, somebody is going to give you as much as 299 euros, just call it 300 euros, and the person expects to get an item not in the best condition. So in this video, I'm going to show you a little things that a lot of sellers tend to overlook. And these are the things that I pay attention to. And sometimes it might look like I'm kind of overly paying attention to these details, but because I've been selling computers, laptops, monitors for a very long time, I kind of relate to what makes people, not happy when they receive their package. Take a look at this PC here. First of all, it's in the best possible condition. The back cover right here, everything looks so clean. I don't see any scratches that want to make somebody a little bit angry. You see, while I was preparing this PC, there was a graphic card on this PC, all right? This graphic card was actually, installed because when I receive these PCs from my suppliers, sometimes I get some pieces like this with graphic cards, and this particular graphic card was not in the offer. I have, the option of leaving it in the, giving it to the buyer, but I feel like this graphic card will actually, cost some more if I try to sell it separately. These are just some of the added or extra benefit that we get. This wasn't actually calculated in the profit, for this complete packet. This definitely, I wouldn't know what this is, but I'm going to check it up. I feel like I could still get like 30 euros, or less for this, but whatever, anything additional is just additional profit. All right. So when I removed it, now there is a kind of a hole here. All right. Normally there should be, a bracket, covering this hole. I have actually seen sellers ship out PCs just like this, Imagine somebody receiving the PC and it looks like this. It doesn't really look terrible, but this in itself might spell low quality for somebody, a buyer that is very, very picky. If a buyer is not so picky, this can actually, slide. But if a buyer is very, very picky, believe me, they are going to make a complaint or going to make a case for this. And as a matter of fact, this could also be an entry point for dust into the PC, and this is just not what you do. If you do not have this, you see, this is the bracket that should normally be there. You know, I kind of have things like this in the warehouse, and when situations like this arise, I don't get lazy to just go pick up something like this and try to cover, you know, the hole right here. It takes less than 1 minute, you know, to put that in. I'm just going to try to, you know, quickly drop that in so that you see exactly how it should, you know, normally look. All right. See, it took less than 10 seconds to do that. But then I have seen sellers, you know, ship out pieces without covering this. And this, like I said, spares low quality for whoever is thinking of buying, you know, your PC. So I'm still going to go ahead and show you more things that I feel like, you see, this is also something that people kind of do. Sometimes people ship out PCs without properly, you know, locking the PC. See, I have used my hand now in locking it, even though it kind of stays in place. But the best thing you want to do, you know, is to get a screwdriver. I wouldn't know where my screwdriver is right now, but just give me 1 minute. See, like I said, even though I already closed it with my hands, I still have to take my screwdriver and, you know, just turn it up a little bit and make sure it is really like closed. Because when you start to ship this PC, it's going to take like a day or two for the PC to, you know, arrive at the buyer's address. And if you are not careful, you know, because the PC is going to be on constant movement during transportation, there's every possibility that these screws, you know, they might kind of loosen up if they are not properly tied, if they are not properly screwed. And when that happens, the buyer is going to receive the PC, and just mere looking at the PC, you can see that this screw is dangling, this one is wobbling, and the buyer might just already have, you know, a negative, you know, feeling towards that computer. And if you are not careful, that the buyer might just be looking for one extra reason to want to send back the PC. So this is the reason why you want to make sure that that screw is properly closed. You see, this thing right here that I'm doing, this is something that a lot of people would consider makes no sense, because this PC in itself already looks very clean. But then I still took up a rag, just a normal, you know, cotton fabric. I still took up a rag and still tried to clean this PC to be sure that, you know, fingerprints, I'm just going to show you what I mean. You see, something like this. If somebody receives this PC and sees something like this, you know, I have to tell you for free that they're not going to be happy about that. Because of that, I'm taking this fabric here to make sure that every form of fingerprint is kind of gone off it's kind of gone off the computer, so that whenever anybody receives this PC, he or she's going to be taking a look at a very fresh PC, you know, clean, no issues, you know, the front covers all looking, you know, in the best possible condition. And this might just be, you know, the first good impression that the buyer would have. And when the buyer goes ahead to switch on the PC and everything works, the buyer is just going to be, you know, super thankful. And most times they want to bring this excitement to your, you know, your review session on eBay and give you a very decent review. You know, like they want to talk about the fact that the shipping was on point, you know, the PC itself, you know, looking in the best condition. They want to talk about the fact that, you know, care was taken to make sure that the PC was well packed, and they just keep, you know, reeling off and giving you all the best things. And this is exactly what eBay wants to see. Anything short of that is going to be difficult. This is not all on the monitor. There's something I still want to show you, but I'm going to quickly make sure I pack this up so that we bring the monitor and show you a thing or two that I've also seen, you know, kind of what people do that I really consider low quality. And this might be the reason why they are not succeeding in their PC flipping business. All right. So 1 minute, this is going to be packed off and we'll be right back. All right, guys, the PC has been packed, neatly packed in this box right here. This is not all. It's still going to come into a bigger box, but now we have to talk about this monitor and some of the little things that people tend to miss out when they ship out things like this. All right. See, take a look at this monitor. It's looking in the best possible condition. You see, there are no scratches on the screen and everything is looking super clean. And yes, some people might want to just take this monitor like this and dump it in some box and ship it off because they feel like it's just enough for the display to be flawless. Guys, I want to tell you that it's not enough, because the idea is you don't want to be selling your stuff to people that do not care, because people that do not care, typically, they do not tend to spend a lot of money. And the people that care, which are the big organizations, the big companies, people that have the financial muscle to actually come back to your shop, buy 20 pieces of stuff like this. These are people that you aim, to reach. And believe me, guys, these people, these big companies have kind of figured out that they also come to eBay to buy things, because gone are the days where you would think that big companies, multinationals, they just go all out and buy new stuff. Whenever they need monitors, they go all out and buy new. But sometimes I realized that these companies have also figured out that, look, in the used market, you can actually get items in very, very good condition. Take a look at this monitor here. This side is actually looking very clean. But to take a look at the base here, it has some rests, sellotape. When you buy a new monitor, normally it has some covering, and sometimes manufacturers kind of use a sellotape like this to kind of tape it back. And take a look at the top right here. We also have, the same thing happening. All right, this right here. See, things like this is actually not a problem, but if you want to ship out something like this to a buyer that you feel might be a return buyer, even it doesn't matter if the person is going to be a return buyer, the fact that somebody has paid you some good amount of money, it makes sense if you can actually take this out to see how, you can remove that. If you can do that and make this side as clean as this will make a lot of sense. This is just a little detail, but sometimes stuff like this has a way of, showing if you are a seller that has done his homework. I have done my homework, and I'm going to try to fight with this thing. The way I see it, it doesn't look like something that's permanent, because I still can remove some of the, if you can take a look at that, I don't think the camera can catch that, but I still see some of the fine hairs, from the sellotape, and I feel like this is something I can still fight with and just remove it. So I will try to, kind of wash it off or kind of scrub it off. Hopefully it goes out and it looks exactly the way it looks right here. All right, guys, if you take a look at it, it looks way, way much better than what it was before. Take a look at it. It pretty much looks gone. I really had to scrub it. Of course, I didn't have to use any chemical substance. What I only did was just to apply a little bit of water on this. And this was exactly why it kind of took, longer for this thing to go away. Actually, there are a lot of chemical substance that you can actually use. You can get online to take away stuff like this, but you have to be careful, because some of these items, they might have, an effect on this plastic right here. And you don't want to have a situation like that where you have, sold something to a buyer and then you try to clean off like a rest sellotape, and then it messes up with the whole chassis of the monitor or PC. That would be a bad situation. And believe me, guys, I've been there before, not once, not twice. I figured out that, look, using water might not be the most, effective way to remove that, but you are just on the safer side when you try to, use it. If you use a chemical substance, you might be able to do it quite easily, but sometimes you might be having to deal with, color differences between what it was previously and what is actually left, all right? So this is one thing that actually can determine, kind of prove to your customers that you've actually spent time, making sure that the item that you are sending to them is actually looking in the best, condition. Of course, it took me quite a while, like say 10 minutes, but in all, I am happy that the top is actually gone. I still have a few of them on the side here, but sometimes it's actually not so terrible when it's on the side like that. than when it's right at the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm still going to make sure, I take this out. Of course, not in this video. Otherwise, the video is going to be looking so long. But I'm just going to make sure I take this out before I finally go ahead, to pack the PC. And I'm still going to show you some little stuff that might actually, make or mar the PCs that you send out to your buyers on eBay or whatever platforms that you sell on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, everything has been taken care of. PC and the monitor kind of are looking in the best possible condition that they can be in. And now is actually the time for me to go ahead and pack this monitor. One thing that people also kind of overlook is they want to go ahead and just slide this monitor like this and junk into the box just like that, because first of all, they do not have time to actually do the right thing, because the right thing to do in this case is for you to take off the LCD just like that and then pack this separately, as well as packing this separately. And if possible, take off. I'm kind of having a problem with that word. I don't know why. Take off the foot just like that. There are just 4 screws holding it. And the problem is a lot of people do not have time to do these things. And so they ship out this monitor like that. And this is the reason why sometimes you hear people complaining, I don't want to flip PC for profit, because the last PC I sent out, a PC got destroyed during transportation, and I don't think I want to do that again. You see, the problem starts from you not actually doing the right thing right from the word go, because the right thing for you to do is for you to have packed the monitor separately, just like taking it apart, so that in this way you are really sure that every part of the LCD is covered properly with bubble wraps, and the foot as well as the base. Because any attempt for this monitor to fall down during transportation, the first thing that's going to be destroyed would be the LCD, and you do not want that to happen, because the problem is people do not want to do this work. They just want to make the profit. And guys, I'm sorry to disappoint you. If you still feel flipping pieces for profit is some kind of a joke, some get rich quick scheme, you got to get off it, because there's a good amount of work that needs to be done here. All right, so enough of the talking. Let's just go ahead and pack this. So the first thing I want to do is to get very good quality bubble wraps. This is also some silent details that people tend to ignore. They tend to use very low quality stuff to pack things like this. You see, whenever I make videos and whenever the opportunity arises, I always want to stress the fact that if you sell used pieces, if you sell books, clothing and stuff like that, you can decide to be cheap on the packaging materials that you use. Even though ideally, if you sell online, you have to forget about being cheap. Whenever it comes to packing your items, the last thing you want to be seen doing is trying to cut corners to ensure that you save a little bit on packaging materials. It just makes no sense, because at the end of the day, if you are not careful, it might result in a situation where you're going to be penny wise and pound foolish, because if an expensive item like this is going to be destroyed on account of you not using good quality bubble wraps, it's definitely not just good enough. All right, this is how it should look, and I have just done the first layer. This is not all. I still have to go one more time and secure the monitor screen with additional bubble wraps. All right, so I'm going to get more bubble wraps just like that. These 2 computers have been sold, so it's kind of on my way. I'm still going to go ahead and set it up, but not in this video. So if you are not subscribed to the channel, please let me use the opportunity to say to you, encourage the channel, be subscribed, click on the like button, and comment on the video so that YouTube sees that you enjoy content like this. All right, and now that's the second layer of bubble wraps. Just going to push it up, just going to push it in just like that. And also make sure it's, properly taped down. All right. So now that that is done, ideally, what you still have to do is to take a solid carton and just, the size of this or even a little bit longer and put it in the front of the LCD, because the idea is on no account should this LCD be broken during transportation. This is a tedious work, but this is the only way that this thing can be shipped out and it arrives at the destination without any problems. All right. Now that that is there, I'm just going to leave it here and then go ahead, secure both of them. This takes little time to do, and I do not actually need, multiple layers of bubble wraps for that. I think just one layer of bubble wrap is fine for this. So it's going to be something like that, or I think I need a bigger one, so I'm going to use this for this. Just going to give it a little bit of turn, just like that, just like that, just like that, and tape it down. And for this, I actually need something a little bit wider. All right. Just a little bit wider should be fine. I'm going to also, make sure it's properly secured, just like that. And in this way, I can tell you that if this buyer receives this, this package, he or she is going to be super, super, super excited, because an item in very good condition has been sent out, and this is exactly the way it should look. This is not all. There's still one thing that is actually, making people have very bad, terrible experiences whenever they ship out, complete pieces like this, or whenever they flip pieces for profit. And this is exactly what it is. All right. You see, guys, this is the best quality of, carton or packet box, whatever you want to call it, that you can actually get in the market right now. And if tomorrow something better than this comes out, I'm definitely going to buy it. Take a look at this. It's a 2-word carton. Some people kind of have difficulties getting these 2 words, and because of that, they want to try to manage, shipping out computers, stuff like this with 1 word, carton. It's not going to work. It's going to break at some point, and you're going to be sorry, because all your work is going to be wasted. All right. This is one of the major things that actually makes or breaks your shipping business. If you cannot lay your hands on good quality stuff like this, it's going to be difficult, because if you record losses, 3 or 4 computers are broken in a month, it has a way of eroding your profit. And if you're not careful, you're just going to be making losses, not because you do not know how to pack items, but because the packaging material that you're using is not good quality enough. And this is one of the worst things that can actually happen. When I was starting out, I didn't know this. Nobody told me. Take a look at YouTube. It's kind of hard to find videos that will give you, step-by-step guide on what you have to do or how you have to do it to minimize losses. But this is what I have found to be the solution, to broken PCs or broken monitors. If you can lay your hands on this, it might be a little bit expensive. What I have just done is to factor the cost of this into the final cost of the PC, because I don't want to play the game of, telling my customers the PC sells for example, 80 euros, but the shipping costs 20 euros. Makes no sense at the end of the day. Just keep it simple. PC costs 100 euros, including shipping, including packaging materials. Everything is inside. And when the PC gets sold, or whenever somebody buys the PC, I am going to make sure I do my job, make sure the items are well secured. And when the buyer receives them, there's going to be absolutely no reason to complain. I'm going to go ahead and pack this up. And if there's still anything to talk about, I'm just going to let you, have that at the end of the video. All right, the last careless thing I could think about was the fact that you are not subscribed to the channel. Of course, I'm just kidding. But on a serious note, if you kind of flip items for profit, one thing you want to do is to be subscribed to this channel, because on this channel, I kind of lay it on you the secret to be successful selling hard goods like this on a platform like eBay, on your website, or any other platform of your choice. So if you are not subscribed, I want to plead with you, go ahead and be subscribed. You stand a chance, to gain a lot. So the last thing that I kind of figure out that people kind of do is people, that try to flip pieces for profit. They're always in a hurry, to want to get a transaction done with and move to the next transaction. I wouldn't know where that's coming from. I was also guilty of this, long time ago. When an item says from nowhere, I'm kind of in a hurry to make sure the item is sent out. I kind of junk everything in the box, go to the post office, and just have this, mental feeling that the item has been sent out, everything is fine. All right. See, one thing you want to do is to make sure you actually, before you seal this box, just take a stock of what is in the box. In this box right now is a PC already, set up and closed. There's a monitor that's in the best condition. There are cables. I have the DisplayPort cable. I have the power cable for the monitor. I have the power cable for the PC also. And the buyer did buy, this PC with a wireless LAN adapter. It's right here. And the monitor foot and the monitor stand, they are all in the box. And the box is also, well protected. At this point, I can then go ahead and close this box, because I understand that everything is actually in like it should be. The worst thing that you want to do is to send out an item and, the item gets delivered only for the buyer to reach out to you and say, oh, sorry, there was an item that wasn't in. The cables, the power cables is not in. The wireless LAN adapter is not in. And then the list goes on and on and on. And this is not exactly what you want to be dealing with, because when you have to send that out again, it's going to be an extra expenses on your parts. And guys, it's already a lot of work to do this, but to begin to deal with, issues of forgotten items is not just what you want to do. So if this video helps you, please, like I said, be subscribed to the channel, click on the like button. Until I see you again in the next one, peace.